Hey girl, in today's episode on the pod, I'm talking with you about when your family just doesn't understand. It's important, especially this time of year, that you set boundaries in your recovery journey. It's important that you do you, boo. And what I want to share with you today is twofold. Obviously, we're going to talk about when your family doesn't understand as you overcome, but are really still in the thick of the disorder. And we're also going to talk about what that can look like for your loved one or your family too. Because maybe you're listening to this show right now and you're not the one with an eating disorder. Maybe you're listening to the show for somebody in your life that has an eating disorder. And so I want to hit on both of these today. Let's dive into today's show. Here we go. Hey girl, welcome to the Her Best Self podcast. I'm Lindsey Nichol, former competitive figure skater and perfectionist, turned God-led imperfect boy mom and digital CEO. If you find yourself constantly thinking about food and wondering if you'll wake up one day free from the obsessive thoughts and behaviors controlling your life, then I've created this podcast for you. Because I know exactly what it's like to be a downright hot mess, trapped in a destructive cycle of disordered eating. I finally found freedom, and you can too, girlfriend. So if you're ready to heal your relationship with food and body and break the chains of control and show up in your best health, then grab your favorite Tarjay journal and let's get to it. So you can start living your best life as your best self. So my mom calls me, we talk every day. I mean, we have such a blessed relationship and I really wouldn't be here without my mom, but that is also something that I've already shared here on the pod, and you can go back to a couple of the beginning episodes of the podcast to just hear about my journey, growing up, my recovery journey and that sort of thing. But my mom called this morning and she was bawling, like she was crying. And I literally thought that her dog had died. I'm not even kidding. She was calling me hysterical. I thought her dog had died. I said, Mom, breathe, slow down. What's going on? Are you okay? And she said, I've never listened to the podcast, Lindsey. And I listened today and I'm just so proud of you. I'm so proud of you. I didn't even know at the time what I was doing through your healing journey. Like when you were going through that, I just knew that I needed to get you help. I needed to be the mom. I needed to support you. And I felt like all of that was on my shoulders. And her and I chatted. We had a really great, vulnerable conversation because there's been so much growth over the years. But she said, all I knew was that you were my only child and I wasn't going to have it. I just wasn't going to have it. And yes, I knew you were over 18. But I educated myself enough about eating disorders and I just legit tried to soak up all of the things that I could for resources. And, back in this time, there wasn't that many resources when it comes to working with people that have an eating disorder. There still aren't enough, in my personal opinion. But she said, I just was on this mission to do all that I could, and I wasn't going to take no for an answer. And most of the time, I had no idea what I was doing or what even to do next. That really hit me this morning. It hit me in a couple of different ways. One, because for one, I'm glad her dog didn't die. Two, when your family doesn't understand how to support you, it can be paralyzing. Even though my mom did not understand how to support me, she loved me. And so that's a message for someone today. And I hope this episode inspires you of what you can do when your family simply doesn't understand about your journey or even the disorder itself. Because there is so much in the mind that is simply just happening when you're going through the struggle. There was a lot of growth that's happened over the years, as I had mentioned, and my mom and I have a great relationship, but it really touched me because I don't know. I mean, I know she's proud of me, but in many ways I had never heard that voiced the way that it was voiced today. And it just was a special reminder of continuously showing up here and continuously being vulnerable. And she said, I just can't believe, I look back at that girl during that time and to the woman that you are now, and I just simply am so proud. And I want that to be for somebody today. You don't have to sit in this mess and let it become who you are and that be it. This is just a speed bump. This is just a blimp in your journey here. If you are a parent and you struggle with what to do next, You don't have to have it all figured out, but it is important to get as educated as possible so you can help support that loved one in your life. But what I wanted to talk about today was boundaries, because there were many boundaries on both sides during my recovery journey. Boundaries get a bad rap. And here's it in a nutshell. Boundaries value you, sis. Boundaries are a better you. And in order to be the best version of you, you have to put some boundaries in place. It's so important, if you struggle with this illness, that you understand in some form or fashion that it affects and hurts every person close to you in your life. Yes, this is an isolating disease, but it echoes to everyone around you. It's like a domino that just dominoes over, and you can be in your own feels and you can think that it's not harming people that are in your circle. But if you don't have energy, you're snapping at your kids. If you don't have energy, you're nasty to your husband. If you aren't nourishing yourself or eating properly, you're not honoring yourself, and therefore you're not giving your best version to everyone else. Yes, you may be triggered by comments of family members. Yes, you may have grown up with trauma, or maybe you haven't. But regardless, there is an impact of generational diet culture, and everyone in your life has their own way of coping with what you are struggling with. And so my mom and I today were able to kind of just talk through, like, I was so in my own stuff. I had no clue that she was dealing with so many emotions. I didn't even try to understand that because I just felt attacked. So if you're sitting here and you feel like you're on constant attack or on constant defense, what I want you to know is that if you are resisting recovery, and maybe even your family around you is resisting change, however they are coming or seeming unsupportive of you, or they feel like to you that they're attacking you, this is their own way, sis, of handling this and coping. My mom actually told me she was partially terrified, maybe even slightly avoiding judgment by other people. And so she told no one. She didn't even tell her and our immediate family of what was going on, and even took this on as her own self-blame. Like, what did I not do as a mom? What did I not do as a parent? What did I do wrong that my daughter ended up with this horrific eating disorder? And so all these feelings and emotions not only are coming from those closest to your life because you're struggling with this illness, and that is not to create shame, or guilt on your part, but it's just important to understand that, number one, your illness is not isolated. While it feels very isolating, it's not just impacting you. Okay, so people that love you, love you. I mean, people that are in your corner, your people, your tribe, those people that love you, love you. And what does this mean? Well, eating disorders are complex. And the people that love you usually mean well, but maybe they just aren't sure how to mean. I remember, and my mom told me about this today, she was like, I didn't even know, it was like walking on eggshells talking to you because I felt like I was going to trigger you. I was going to push you in the opposite direction. I never knew if you were in a good mood, if you were in a bad mood, what you had eaten last. So when I would ask questions, it was simply to gain understanding, but I was searching for that understanding from you, and you couldn't give me that understanding because you were trying to figure out what was going on, and you were trying to figure out what to do next, and you had all of these emotions. There was positive intent, and 9 times out of 10, if you have somebody close to you in your life that is triggering or pushes back, it's out of positive intent, even if they're angry or even if they're in denial. Like, for a while, I felt like I would be around my parents and they saw changes in my body. They saw changes in my eating patterns and my irritability and my mood and all the things. But they, for I think a little while, they would not bring up the conversations until it became super apparent. And that doesn't mean that maybe where you are right now, you're not sick enough. That doesn't mean that you have to be a low body weight or that you have to be bones and that's it in order to get somebody's attention. That is not what that means. It just means that there's phases that even our loved ones are struggling with. Okay, being in denial works in many ways. While I was in denial of the own disorder, my mom was also in denial that like this could happen to her child. My mom was in denial. My mom was angry. All of those feelings are valid and they're real, It's up to you, friend. And this is what I wanted to really get into today a little bit deeper, is it's up to you to share what you need. Because 9 times out of 10, the people that love you, that are for you, are trying to support and love you and be for you. And sometimes that can come off as a pushback. Hurt people, sis, hear me. Hurt people hurt people. And this is how pain gets passed on, generation after generation. And I don't want you to just break the chains of an eating disorder. I want you to break the chains not from your loved ones, but for them and for yourself. And so this is where you can meet anger with kindness and understanding. You can be compassionate and you can still honor your path. This is the hard part, mostly because we want to be left alone in the disorder. And we have so many of our own personal feelings. But here's some boundaries and strategies that you can set with people that are closest to you. 1, use your voice. Brené Brown says this: when we are busy pleasing and perfecting and performing, we end up saying yes a lot when we mean no. Use your voice. Share with the people closest to you where you are in your journey, where you are in your struggle. This was the hardest thing. I don't think I shared. I just dealt with my own things and my own stuff. And I really wasn't ready to share when I was being probed, quite frankly. I want you to share if they're safe people. So it's important that you have a safe place. But ask them for support. Ask them for what you need from them. This is hard when you may be a people pleaser. But if you're raised by somebody or your immediate circle of the support system that you have is also just trying to fix it or trying to please you, they actually need something to do, friend. So let's give them something to do that makes them help. And I'm speaking to you if you're the support person here, makes them feel like they are helping. A lot of months and years, like my mom felt as though she needed to fix it. She needed to help. In fact, my dad just fell off the face of the planet because he didn't know what to do. And so his was avoidance, his coping mechanism was avoidance. But she was the fixer. She was the helper. And so you just need to let those people in your circle close to you know how they can show up for you in the hard times. Have those hard conversations and those vulnerable moments. Gosh, do I wish I would have done that. Hear them and remain open-minded. And then I also want you to decide your boundaries, and I want you to share those boundaries. Maybe that looks like this. I know that you care about me, but comments about my food choices right now aren't helpful for my recovery journey. I appreciate you and I know that you love me, but I'm working with a care team and some professionals to help guide my journey and my health forward. I need to help heal my relationship with my food. And so I'm going to remove myself from any diet conversations or any triggering discussions this holiday season because I just don't want to absorb that. It is the opposite of what I'm trying to do. To help ease your overwhelm, sis, you have to pre-plan. It's important. And as we go into the holiday season where you're going to be in family gatherings and settings or events, it's important to have self-care practices in place for you and know your go-tos for any triggering situation. Sometimes that actually looks like an exit strategy. Let me tell you. I remember having Thanksgiving with my family even years and years after I had recovered from anorexia and always wondering if people were watching me. Whether or not Lindsey was going to take the role was whether or not Lindsey was still recovered. Whether or not Lindsey was going to have stuffing was whether or not Lindsey was still recovered. If I only had a bite of the pie versus a slice of the pie, that must have meant Lindsey was dealing with her stuff again. And I felt like people were watching me as if I was in a fish tank. But that was my stuff. That was my stuff. And being able to have self-care in place, knowing that, you know what, even if they are, I'm strong in my decision making. I'm strong in my truth. And I know I'm for me. I know I'm recovering. I know that I've dealt with this for a long time. But I get to choose how I want to go into situations. I get to choose the conversations I'm going to have. And I get to set healthy boundaries. So if you're feeling in a tight situation this holiday, have an exit strategy. If you're going to be around somebody that is super triggering for you, I want you to go, okay, I'm going to share my voice. I'm going to speak my truth. I'm going to be to me. I'm going to go with other people. But if I get super triggered, I know that that's not going to help me, maybe hours or even days after the event. So I'm going to have an exit strategy. That is okay too. Focus on recovery while participating in these traditions. It's so important. How am I different this Thanksgiving or this Christmas or this New Year than I am last? How has my mind grown? How has my heart grown? And what are my dreams? This is the thing, friend. When you're stuck in the disorder, you can't have any because it robs you, and me, it did for a really long time, of thinking further along than where you are in that current moment. Because all you can think about is what you can eat next or what you can't. I want you to take care of you and spend some time taking care of you. And so put yourselves around people that are going to understand where you are. But even if they don't, boundaries are basically providing healthy structure. And you're a structure queen. I know you are. Structure is essential in building anything that lasts and anything that thrives in your life. You've got to have some healthy structure. So putting boundaries in place or valuing you, they're bettering you, sharing with your family member. This is super triggering for me, or I'm in recovery right now, or I'm trying to figure things out for my life. Like I realize I've struggled with this disorder for a while, or I even have an eating disorder, and I'm looking to better my life. So I'm just going to remove myself from this conversation. Like I don't want to talk about keto. I don't want to talk about low carb. I don't want to talk about the calories that are in the mac and cheese. Like I am going to honor my body by trying the mac and cheese. Remember, sis, setting boundaries, it isn't about pushing your family away. It's about creating the space that you need to heal. Your recovery journey, it deserves that respect and it deserves that protection. And it's the best gift that you're going to give to yourself. If you are here listening and you're like, well, I want to support this person in my life that is struggling with an eating disorder, I want you to know that setting your own personal boundaries are just as important. You see, when my mom was trying to help me through this and fix it and do all the things, she wasn't taking care of herself. She wasn't honoring her needs. She was walking on eggshells, worried that something she said was going to set me off. Setting boundaries, it isn't about pushing that person away. That's actually enabling them by getting them more and more isolated into the disorder. Setting boundaries, it's cultivating that space for you to be able to go, you know what? I feel like there is something going on with you. I want to support you. I'm seeing changes in you. I want to help you. And right now, maybe I don't even know what that looks like, but I just want you to feel seen and loved by me. And I want to hold your hand and I want to do a fun family tradition. And maybe that's not even about food, but I want you to know that when you need me, because we will all have that time where it's like breakdown mode and we know we need support. And if you haven't hit that yet, you are on the way, friend. It's setting those boundaries and going, your recovery journey deserves respect. And you helping support your loved one also deserves respect. When somebody pulls away from you, sometimes that means they just need that space to process. I'll tell you that in my own way, I knew what my mom was telling me was the truth because I loved her and I looked up to her. And again, maybe you don't have that relationship or maybe your parents no longer here, and that's okay too. Enter in somebody in your life that is important to you, that you value their opinion. When that person comes to you and says, this is not okay, part of you in your heart already knows that. Part of you in your heart is searching for that out, but feeling all these different feelings, scared and afraid and hurt and frightened and what am I going to do to get myself out of this? And how did I get myself into this? And maybe they're just jealous. Like, I want you to brain dump all of those feelings because that is a part of healing. And even if you're the caretaker, brain dump all of those feelings because hurt people simply hurt people. 9 times out of 10, when your family doesn't understand, it's not to be critical. It's because they're trying to understand. They're trying to heal the pain that they're going through, seeing you go through this. And so today I just wanted to wrap my arms around you, friend, and tell you that I love you to death. I am so happy that you're here. I welcome you here. You are so special to me. And if you need support this season in your life, because maybe you don't have that support person, or maybe no one understands you, or you feel like no one does understand you. I don't want you to go at this alone. Even with a healthy support system, you should work with somebody who's been there and who's gone through an eating disorder. It's so important. It's like, how do we teach our kids to ride a bike if we've never ridden a bike before, right? It's so important to work with a professional that understands right where you are. And if you need that support one-on-one, you can go on out to the website, herbestself.co. You can find out how we can partner together. I would love for you to fill out a client application so that we can get you on the books for the new year. Friend, you deserve to have a wonderful holiday. Focus on setting those personal boundaries with yourself, for yourself, but also for your loved ones. I encourage you to take some time to rest, take some time to focus on you, and make the effort to set that positive intent. Be optimistic. Open your mind to understanding that if life is hard, it isn't always going to be like this right now. Try a conversation, try a different path, try a different discussion, set a different boundary, and then walk. I believe in you, friend, and I'll talk to you real soon. Bye for now. Oh, friend, thank you so much for letting me share what was on my heart today. My hope for this podcast is to help more women find freedom from food and body. If this has empowered or blessed you, let me know. I'd be honored for your rating and review of my show, and I'd love to connect with you in my private Facebook community. You really can move from perfection to purpose. Let's break the chains together. I'll help navigate the way. Until next time, bye for now, girl.